The best we can hope for is a quiet life, an ordinary life.
We are here. We are here.
So hello and welcome YouTubers and Doctor Who fanatics once again to another Big Finish audio review. Today I'll be taking a look at, sadly, the last story from the Early Adventures range from Season 1. Well, there is one more thing coming from the Early Adventures on the 31st. Well, actually today is the 31st. I am doing a complete overview of the range, but anyway, this is for An Ordinary Life only. So yeah, you know I know procedures where I go for the cover art, read the blurb, look inside and say my overall thoughts and opinions on the story, go into positives, negatives, and then overall conclusion to the story. So let's take a look at the cover. So here we have the cover art. We have the new Doctor Who 50th, the new Doctor Who logo for Big Finish users. Peter Purves and Jean Mars perform An Ordinary Life, written by Matt Fitton. And just for a little knowledge, if you didn't know this, An Ordinary Life script was 4 years into planning. It was, but none of the writers could actually perform the story or make it work correctly. But Matt Fitton actually made it work. So this script for An Ordinary Life has been in it's been a long time since it actually happened. It was going to happen 4 years ago, but just never happened. It's now been featured into an early adventure. So if you did not know that, then just throw it right at you. It was in the behind the scenes. It was when I listened to the audio. And it is featuring Ram John Holder. For the cover art, we have Jean Mars as Sarah Kingdom, Peter Purves as Steve, as Michael Newman, and then we have Peter Purves and the Doctor down there as well, with the TARDIS as well. Nice red effect and sand by there, looks a really nice effective cover. At the side, if you can just get the light on it, we have Doctor Who An Ordinary Life 1.4. And now we have, at the back is 120 minutes approx for time, and for the blurb, it is directed by Ken Bentley, as I forgot to say. 1950s London newcomers arrive daily on British shore, seeking a fresh start. New opportunities are simply the chance of a different life. However, some are much further afield than India or Jamaica. After an emergency landing, the TARDIS crew must take the best of it and look to their new neighbours for help. But the Newman's family has more than of the time to contend with. A sinister force grows in strength amid the pubs, docks, and back streets of London. And without the Doctor, marooned in the time and place as alien as anything ever encountered, Stephen and Sarah may well face their greatest challenge yet, to live an ordinary life. So there's the characters featured in the story as the cast. Have the discs. Part 1 is An Ordinary Life, Part 2 is Unalike, Part 3 is The Sleeping Army, and Part 4, The Enemy Without, and some other companion chronicle releases from that range. So for the booklet, if we just open it out quickly, we have writer's notes from Matt Fitton, with behind the scenes, we have the producer's notes from David Richardson, another behind the scenes picture, and then there's all full of them over there, which an overview will be coming later today if this is uploaded on the 31st. I think it will be. And there's some credits of the story, and if you want it, you can flip it over for the 60th logo. So now, my overall thoughts and opinions on An Ordinary Life. When we compare it to the others, like Domain of the Void and The Bounty of Sirius, their trailers sounded so brilliant, and they really engrossed me to saying that I really was going to enjoy the story. The Doctor's Tale did it a little bit, but his trailer wasn't like that great compared to the other two, Domain of the Void and Bounty of Sirius. But then Doctor's Tale turned out a very good story as well, a very classic, old-style, historical William Hartnell story. But now we come to the An Ordinary Life. Now, the first thing when I looked at this story and listened to the trailer, I was not that bothered about it or convinced. But it didn't really sound like a really good story, really. I wasn't really bothered really about it when I looked at the trailer, and the symbolics of it made me quite yawn a little bit. I said, this doesn't sound very entertaining, or I'll be clinging to the storyline. It sounds very dull. It just sounds like it just sounds like historical with not much going on. But on the other hand, I regret saying those words when I did listen to the trailer, because you always got to give something a chance. If it turns out underwhelming, or you just have to give it a chance, really. And I do regret saying those words before, because it turned out, let's just say this, flipping fantastic. It was a brilliant audio, a fantastic character piece, and I put this more as a character piece than an action-packed story. So that does give it a massive boost, but still, everything has its positives and negatives, and unfortunately it does. But anyway, let's get to the good stuff first. So we could do it in order first. Part 1 was basically, well, the episode's called An Ordinary Life. It's where the TARDIS makes a landing. It does with the Doctor. He's ill, and he has to get forced to get help from these neighbours, which is Michael Newman and who's the other guy? Woman. Andre Newman as well. Complete strangers, and they're just looking for him for help as well. And yeah, the Doctor. Well, I'll get to his character in a minute because there's not much that will leave in sort of a negative, which I don't really like. But yeah, they're forced to interact with these characters, and yeah, the interactions between the two, the supporting characters and the main characters, Peter Purvis, Stephen, and G. Marsh's Sarah Kingdom, both brilliant interactions with all the characters. Definitely a very strong piece as well. We'll start with. Actually, no, we'll get to that in a minute anyway. So yeah, part 1 was a very talky episode. It was, but still had some very good lines and dialogue in it. But nothing like major happens in it as well until we get to the cliffhanger where it starts to build up a little bit. So yeah, part 1 is rather straightforward. The Doctor's ill. Of course, Stephen and Sarah are trying to find help, and they're forced to get help from these two other characters, the Newman family, and to pretty much give the Doctor the shelter, and as well with Stephen and Sarah the shelter, because they have lost their home, the TARDIS. So they pretty much have to force to be interacting and have to go with these characters as well. So then we come to part 2, and this is where things start to tip over. Yeah, things started to twist around a little bit. Some fantastic twists approach, and as well, I love Sarah Kingdom in this episode. She fighted so many cops in this episode. It was absolutely really funny and entertaining, one of these badass women. Absolutely fantastic Sarah Kingdom in this episode. It's the first episode I have ever listened to Sarah Kingdom on Big Finish, because I have not listened to her Companion Chronicles. She was absolutely brilliant straight off the bat. I was quite worried about it because she's not really a big companion. She's only featured in one episode, which is the Daleks Master Plan, and she's brilliant. And yeah, there's some little links to An Ordinary Life to the Daleks Master Plan a little bit, if you're a fan of that. No bigger story plots of the Daleks Master Plan in this story, but just a little reference at the start, which is pretty cool with the Daleks. So yeah, episode 2 was brilliant, and I love that cliffhanger. Yeah, it just brings chills down my spine where they said "we are here" in a very creepy and menacing voice with all these people. It's something really weird started to happen. Yeah, with An Ordinary Life, I like it where it starts off really calm, but things just start to go really weird and really strange, and what Stephen and Sarah see is not what they seem, really. It's a brilliant twist, absolutely. Part 3 as well, we see even more twists and turns as well with the characters. And as well, we see Michael Newman acting very creepy for some reason. I won't say why, but he plays a big role to his character. I won't say what happens. And yeah, part 4 was really good as well. It's sending off the story with a high note. So yeah, the early adventures ended on a high note. And yeah, now let's go to negatives, sadly. Oh, actually no, did I do all the positives I was thinking? Oh yeah, great storylines and really build up with tension straight away as well with the characters. Also, every character was on top performance without a single down one. And it was really funny, comedic, brilliant dialogue, brilliant story, and a brilliant character piece. Negatives, unfortunately, that the Doctor's character is used very thin in this episode and only appearing in part 4, which it seems like all the early adventures, except for the Bounty of Sirius, he's used quite lightly. Unfortunately, it's more to the companions a little bit more to the story, but still he pushes everything aside where the Doctor actually makes an appearance in An Ordinary Life fully in part 4, and now he just sweeps away and he stands aside. The Doctor's here. It's like that sort of thing, which I do really like. But to be honest, this is a pretty good story, and I don't really hate their stories a lot. Probably the only two things I would say the Doctor's used very lightly in this episode, maybe appeared a little bit more earlier. So that's a little negative for me, and probably as well that part 1 maybe a little sloppy. Well, not sloppy, I mean sluggish for some people. It might take a while until real powerful bits happen in the story, really good twists and turns. So 8 out of 10 for this story. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic. I've listened all the other ones for a second time as well. The only thing I got to do now is the overview, so that should be fun. Which one is the true champion? We have to wait and see, but it's good that they're all positive stories, not a single slogger, so that's good. So see you in that video for the last video for 2014, which is Doctor Who Big Finish, The Early Adventures Season 1 overview. So have a good one.